Maybe I'm live now. Give me just 1 second, guys. I got to share the YouTube link, and then we'll be good to go. I don't think anybody's here yet, so this is always the hardest part, guys. Why? Because somebody's here. Hello, somebody. Sorry it takes me so long to post the link every time. Why? Sorry. What's going on? Oh, that's not even my... I don't know, guys. I'm still bad at this. How do Oh, I can see that. Oh, there's the button. I'm sorry, guys. Yeah, my pillow doesn't have a sheet on it. I know you can see it. But let me try this again. I wonder if there's a way I can edit this so that when people come and watch it later that they don't have to sit through 5 minutes of me trying to figure out how to post the link. Yeah. I have to change that there because I think I got it. Let me know when you guys are here. Again, I'm sorry for taking so long. I'm gonna get the hang of this. Next time it's gonna be a lot faster. I forgot the... Oh, man. Post, and then I think it's up. Let's bring the picture up, but okay. Alright, it's up. I'm sorry, my older computer is slow, and my new one keeps still telling me, it keeps telling me that the camera is being used by another app, but there's no app, and then, so I think I lost somebody, but, anyway, welcome, guys. I left my door open so you guys might be able to hear Bob's Burgers out there. But today we are talking about Hannible and Lamia, and before I do anything else, I am going to answer the questions from last week. And if you did watch last week's all the way through, I did actually answer Jody's question about how Hannibal keeps his hair so luscious, and it is because of the moonlight. So it's that simple. So Sam asked, what dog breed would Rishon be? And if it was Rishon versus Comorian as different breeds as a whole, Rishon would be German Shepherd and Comorian would be Huskies. Now, there's a character in my manga that's named after Sam, and she's a Rishon, but her dog breed is a Husky, so she's kind of self-betrayed her dog breed in a way, as she put it. But if we went individually, Hannibal would be the German Shepherd, Apollo would be the Golden Lab, Alba would be a Rottie, Lamia would be a Corgi, Sarah would be an Australian Shepherd. I had to ask Barta his opinion for what dog Miri would be, and he said Jack Russell. And in some ways I can see it, but the only Jack Russells that I have ever known have kind of been they were not the most pleasant dogs because they scratched the crap out of my legs, which I guess in a way I could see that being a little bit like Miri and Alva's relationship, because she does get on his nerves a lot, but I don't completely see it, but he may have known a lot of Jack Russells that were a little different. Sam says that they're hyper. And then Ree, that goddess that we talked about, the Cocker Spaniel, and Sparta 150% agreed with that. And then Everest was a Doberman, Koo was a Yorkie, Nostradamus was a Husky, and so he's the main bad guy there. And then Zeta would be a Pomeranian Collie mix. Hikaru would be a Boxer mix, and then Tara would be a Tennessee Walker Hound. And somebody came back or joined us, so welcome. Thanks for joining us today. We're just going over the yes, Sam, you're gonna get sacrificed by your own breed. The irony, So that's what I have for that. And then it was on my other laptop. I downloaded like a bio, so I figured we could answer those questions because those are the only two questions that I got last time. And of course, somehow it's not up. Ooh, what is going on? I clicked something on my new computer, and then the pop-up menu screen on my old computer came up. So that was a little weird. Okay, so general information is there's Hannibal, whose nickname is Henny. When you meet him, it's spoopy. It's a little spoopy, Jody. But that's how things with me and technology works. It does weird, random things that it wants, not that I want. Maybe a little bit like my brain there. But so when you meet Hannibal, he's gonna be 18. It's actually gonna be his birthday, and he is a couple days older from his brothers. Apollo is born on February 7th, like the Greek god. And then Albel is born February 9th, after my friend Kaoru, who, back when we roleplayed this, Albel was his character. And it synced up nice. But Hannibal is born on February 12th. So it's February 12th when the manga starts off. Now, it asks for his nationality, and the thing is that you're in another world. It's not Earth. So they won't have nationalities like Spanish and Latvian and stuff like that. He's a Russian, but his appearance does look Japanese for the most part. I mean, it is a manga after all. But for his religion, I put justice. And I did this because he doesn't really have one. His current place for living is the barn. That's where you'll meet him, and then he'll be traveling. His job title is Rishon of the Night. His mother tongue is English or Japanese. And then things that he likes, he's still kind of figuring that out because he's been locked in a barn his whole life. So you will get to explore what he finds he likes and dislikes. There's a part where, he doesn't know exactly what a frog is. And so he was going to go to the bathroom, and he comes along this frog, and then he gets a little playful, and he goes to be on this frog, and this frog gets very upset, and it comes back to bite him later. But I'm not going to tell you how, because if I give me rolling, I'll tell you the whole story, and then yeah. But he really loves the drums, and that's going to be the first thing that he really discovers he likes. There's something that when he hits the drums, it kind of just makes his whole being vibrate. And if you guys remember in the Rishon versus Komorian thing, they all have Rishon are more instrumental. They all have their instrument they can play. Hannibal's is the drum. He is very rock and roll and metal type of character. Things that he doesn't like would be injustice and handcuffs. He hates really restraints of any kind. And I know somebody's out there with a naughty mind. This is because he's been chained up all of his life. Nothing perverse about it. Let's see what other questions we have. His role is that he's pretty much fated to shape the world. It doesn't matter if he doesn't fight, doesn't or not fight. Whatever actions that he goes through is going to shape the end of the world. If he doesn't fight, then he just dies. And then the world kind of falls to the Komorian power. If he fights, there's a chance everything could stay the same. Which, I mean, I don't want to get too much into it, but eventually, things start to get a little bit more revolutionary. I guess that kind of gives it away anyway. But let's see. For relationships, sisters or brothers, he has one sister of the sky, and then he has multiple brothers of the sky. So his somebody messaged me on Facebook, but I can't answer her right now because I'm doing this. So she's gonna have to wait. Sorry. If you do watch this later, just know this is why I didn't get right back to you. But so he's got 15 older brothers of the night, and he's got 16 brothers of the day and 16 brothers of the tween time. Technically 17 if you count Zeta. And then he's got earth brothers, earth sisters, water sisters, which one of them would be Sam. And then, yes, it is Sam. And then I got a little lost there. But he's got a lot of siblings, and he doesn't remember any of them. So, that's and Hannibal is very, not trusting of most people. So his love interest would be Lamia. Wants to talk about relationships with other characters, but I don't want to get too far into that because I haven't really introduced Albel or Apollo other than just a little bit here and there, and I will talk more about their relationships with each other when we get to them versus diving into 15 different characters today. Might be a little much. So, let's see, physical characteristics. I don't know that we have to go into this too much, but he is going to be, I'm going to change the thumbnail for this. There's going to be a little chibi. He's got black hair, dark blue eyes. That's Hannibal. He's got a medium skin tone. It says, does the character drink regularly? Hannibal has never drunk, as far as alcohol goes. So we could explore that one day. I don't think, it could end up being hilarious, to be honest, because like I said, he's exploring the world. He's not going to know what alcohol is. And maybe, I'd like to see his interaction with Lamia with that, if maybe he could get over some of his shyness, because Hannibal is very serious. He's kind of a little on the stoic side, but you also get to know Jody supports drunk Hannibal, so we're gonna try that. But he's kind of stoic, he's kind of serious, but you'll get to see his a little mischievous side here or there, or prankster side here and there, because like I said, he sees the frog and he's kind of like, oh, well, I'm gonna pee on this frog. I don't know what it is. Could be fun. So, he's got a little bit of a mischievous in it. It's not like he's trying to be jerk to the frog. And I swear, if somebody gives me a problem that he tried to pee on this frog, I'm gonna have a cow, because it's not a real frog, and he doesn't want to hurt the frog. He's just, boys will be boysing. So let's see. Does this character have any disabilities? His disability is literally expressing his emotions to Lamia. Anything romantic, he chokes up. She is his weakness in that way, is that he's very protective of her. It's very blatant. It's very obvious. Anybody who wants to get to him will just have to get with her. Oh, yeah, please, PETA, understand, it's not a real live frog. I do not condone the urinating on any animal, or harm to any animal. And, for all he gets his vengeance. So I don't think he has too much a disability. In the beginning, he kind of doesn't understand how to use his power. It's fleeting because, again, he's been trapped in a barn all his life, so he can do some small things, but nothing as big as he gets into. Let's see. I have his height is 5'8". He is the shortest of the 3 Rishon of the Sky that are still earthbound. And not by much, Albel is the tallest brother, which Sparta got really excited about. Short by Sam standards, yeah. They had a little bit more growing to do, because even though they're 18, they're probably more, they're not too young, but they still probably have a couple more inches to grow. When you get into some taller Rishon, they're usually a few hundred, 2,000s of years old, And then there is an Earth Rishin who's really big, and you'll like him, Sam, but that's not for today. So he doesn't have any glasses. He is fairly healthy. In the beginning of the manga, you'll see he's still kind of adjusting to light because he spent most of his life in a barn, and while he does get some light exposure, it's different than spending 3 days out in the sunlight, you know. So let's see, it says type of face, which I don't really know how to answer that. I don't know, weight. He's kind of muscular, but that's natural kind of for a god. Mental characteristics. Hannibal is a very... And Lamia, in the beginning, she goes through these emotions because she feels at fault. And he wants her to stop, but he's very supportive of her. Anybody else, he'll just cut through that bullshit like a knife through melted butter. Like, you know, when it's been sitting out of the fridge and it's like the perfect... He just cuts through it. He doesn't want to deal with it. He's like, get to the point. I don't have time to waste on this. I got stuff to do. He's very driven. He's very motivated. And I will tease you as much as I want, Sam. You kind of just, by saying that, made me want to tease you even more. It's like, oh, do you think he's over 6 feet tall, or 7 feet tall, or 11 feet tall? We'll find out all. I should put an angry emoji. So his fears in the beginning strictly revolve around, compared to some, yes, he is still short. But, so in the beginning, his greatest fear is pretty much losing Lamia, which he does. She, gets murdered coming into to set him free by a demon. So his other worry is, how the heck am I gonna actually, break into hell and steal her soul and then stuff it back into her body? Like, he doesn't even know which direction hell is. It's like, I'm outside. This is bigger than I thought. What's that fluffy thing with weird teeth? Is it? Yeah. So, that's kind of his perspective, is he doesn't really know what he's doing, but he doesn't really care because he's going to figure it out. He's like, whatever. So his life goal is pretty much bringing her back to life and finding a place that she and him can live together without her being sucked back into the cult that her family belongs to, and, travel with her, because they have always wanted to travel, because Lamia's great-grandmother would tell her stories about in the old days and this people who didn't live like this, and everybody in the cult thought her grandma was crazy, but Lamia loved the tales. So she's always wanted to go and find those mythical places. His life goal for the next 25 years. I don't think Hannibal knows. I think he wants to marry Lamia, and he knows he wants to marry Lamia, and he wants to have a family with her, but I don't think he's really projected that far ahead, other than we're going to travel and eventually have a family. Like, there's no time frame. He's not saying, 25 years, 30. Lamia and Hannibal met because when Emmy... Okay, so this is going to be a little bit of a backstory. Somebody... When Ree turned Ku into stone, Ku was pregnant, and nobody knew this. So inside of Ku, she's had this child growing for about 15,500 years, and they don't know how he escaped, but he eventually came out of the statue and realized, he knew by then who he was, that he was a Comorian, that Rhee had done this to his mother and him, and he went to the island of the sky to get revenge. And Emmy, he speaks in English and Tagalog. Hi, Savannah. Thanks for joining. So Emmy speaks in English and Tagalog, and he comes to the island of the sky, and he's wreaking havoc on this home, and he comes across Hannibal by himself, and pretty much is the entire reason that Hannibal falls to Earth. So Hannibal falls to Earth. He's unconscious. He didn't die because he's a godling. That's not going to kill him. But Lamia happens to be wandering outside near the woods, and she sees him there, and she realizes he's not human, but he needs help. So what does she do? She runs and she gets an adult. Now the cult, the will of the people, is very much love everyone. Everyone's included. Anything but Rhee. Rhee is a bad person. And basically, they know exactly what Hannibal is when they find him, and they're like, oh no, we gotta kill it. Like, that's that. He's a child of the evil goddess, even though, most people, it's about an even split between the people who are still worshiping Rishon and the people who are joining this cult. Lamia really speaks out. She says, this is not what we're teaching. If you do this, you're the same as Rhee. You can't do this. You don't really know for sure that that's where he's from. So what do? Enchanted handcuffs and lock him in the barn, because the head priest goes, well, she's right, and if we do this, then everybody's going to pass judgment on us. So Lamia is put in charge of pretty much taking care of Hannibal, and she brings him lunch every day for 13 years. She feeds him, and the priest is the great-grandfather of Walker, who eventually will become her fiancé, and he is the one who unleashes the demon to kill Hannibal, because he knows that Lamia really has feelings for Hannibal. So, let's see. It says, self-confidence. Hannibal has confidence until it comes to Lamia. I told you, he's all, I'm ready, I can do this. And then as soon as he starts talking to her, he'll probably trip over something, fall into a bin of rice. That's kind of his luck. He just gets goofy, to say to speak. He's really rational, and Lamia is more emotional, but they're really cute together. It says, how do you upset this character? To upset Hannibal, you're going to mess with Lamia, point blank. How does this character cope with fury and rage, unhappiness, or rivalry, new situations, or with trouble? Okay, so Hannibal is pretty, like I said, he cuts through the bullshit. He wants to know the point. If you're going to come after him, he's going to get to the source of the situation, and that's what it's going to be. And if you have an illogical emotion that doesn't fit, like, say, perhaps you're over dramatic because somebody made your order wrong, and you start going off on, they never do my order right, I think the person is out to get me. He will not put up with that. And it's so funny because Apollo is, and I don't want to get too much into it, he is very out there. He's very extroverted. He's very, he would be in theater, so he I'm not saying that he would do exactly that, don't get me wrong, but he's very the opposite of Hannibal. So sometimes Apollo will be talking and he'll be like, let me tell you a grand old tale. And he's like, just no, I don't need to know all this stuff. Shut up. Just tell me, where do I need to go? Point A and point B. I don't need to. Is that crucial to the plot? So it can drive him a little crazy. What's the meaning of his life? He hasn't really discovered any of that yet. I mean, to him, everybody's telling him it's to save the world. I mean, first it's to restore the island of the sky, but once they find out the Kumorians are being released, it becomes to save the world. What makes his character happy? Is he biased? Does he prefer to give or take? Is he rather nice or rude? It depends with Hannibal if he's nice or rude, because he doesn't always mean to be rude, but like I said, he can cut straight to things and not realize sometimes he's being rude. He doesn't mean it and he'll apologize. He doesn't like to offend people, but at the same time, he would not put up with being over dramatic because you're being too sensitive. I don't want to make any like controversial topics, but again, if you go back to they gave you peas instead of mashed potatoes, we can get that replaced. No need to freak out, right? His character is pretty happy just exploring. He's really happy if he gets to play the drums, because once he gets that drum fever going, it's pretty like a wildfire. He's not really biased, to be honest. I think he's probably one of the least biased, except for when it comes to Lamia, because he's pretty like, no, that's there's no other girl. That's it. And like, it's gonna bother me. And like, I'm a big fan of Yowie, but I know he's gonna get shipped. I know he's gonna get shipped with Apollo. I can see him and Annabelle getting shipped, although I think that's gonna be not as common. But I really see him getting shipped with Nostradamus, and that's the one that's gonna bug me the most, because the two of them are like beta fish. They don't like each other. Period. So that was the end of the list. I didn't really go into like what his powers are. Thank you, Savannah. Yeah, every ship you can think of will exist. This is very true, Sam. I'm not going to be surprised if someone out there ships Hannibal with that frog that he tried to pee on. I'm really not going to be surprised. Please don't intentionally go make that. Geez, when this blows up, somebody's going to be like, I watched one of your beginning streams and I heard about the frog in Hannibal. Here's some fan art. Yeah, I could see that happening just to troll me, Sam, that I said that. Thanks, Sam. This is part of your plan. I know it. So we're going to go back over this list a little bit with Lamia. So her name is Lamia Jane. I don't have her middle name, her last name, but long-term goals. Thanks, Sam. I don't have her last name yet, but it's not really that important because last names aren't as important as they are here. Lami would be kind of her nickname. She is 17, so she's a year younger than Hannibal, probably about actually 6 months. She is human in the beginning, and then she becomes undead, and, because he brings her back to life. Throughout the whole beginning comic, he's actually sewing her body together. Oh yeah, now that I brought it up, I can definitely see it happening, Savannah. She doesn't really have a title. In the beginning, she has a lot of problems speaking, and I gave her one of my own problems. So, her and Hannibal have some problems speaking. His is just to her because, he likes her and he can't express, those romantic feelings. Hers is in general, she can't really tell you no. She's brought up in the will of the people, who is very, women are beneath men. And I'm telling you right now, this is not a women's right push. I'm all for equality. I don't want her to turn into this big symbol for it. What I do want her to be a symbol for is for everybody who has a hard time speaking up for what they believe in, for their story. She says right in the beginning, the only time anybody ever listened to me was when I saved your life. And no one cares what I think ever since then. There are a lot of empowered women in this story, and you can say that Time becomes very empowered. Ree becomes empowered. Lamia, she is just a movement for the shy people who have kind of taken the back seat in their family. I don't want her to be a symbol for just women. I want her to be a symbol for everybody who struggles with that, if that makes sense. I'm not against women's rights. Don't get me wrong. Like I said, there's plenty of powerful women. Hikaru is so strong. But I don't want boys not to be able to relate to her, because I don't know. I just didn't want her to turn into what they tried to turn Captain Marvel into, if that makes sense. They pushed her a lot to be like the face of women and blah blah blah. I don't want that. I just want, she just wants to be herself. That simple. And so she wants to be able to have a voice. And she does get one throughout the series. In the beginning, she's definitely not Kairi from Kingdom Hearts, but she doesn't have any superpowers, okay? So she's in a group of 6, and everybody has superpowers except her. She doesn't know how to help them, and she actually, at one point, nobody likes Captain Marvel Sam. It failed. Like, Disney actually bought tickets to make that movie look bigger than it was, and they are not carrying on with the sequel at this point, or minimalizing it, because nobody likes Captain Marvel. That's why they wanted to pair Spider-Man with her, because everybody likes Spider-Man right now. Everybody likes him, and they thought bringing him in would help her. But as far as I understand, they're not doing it. They're not making another Captain Marvel a tank. She's the least popular character, which is why I don't want Lamia to become, some kind of push for rights or anything. I just want her to be the voice for those who need one, like one of those characters who develop their own voice, because everybody needs a voice. So let's see, what was I saying? She's just human. She doesn't have a job. She wakes up pretty upset with what happened. Obviously, I mean, if you died and went to hell, you'd probably be very upset. She's got a lot of after she's reborn, so to speak, she's got a lot of more image issues, because she used to have nice skin and she used to be very pretty. I still think she's pretty. Hannibal still thinks she's beautiful. But now she's got all these stitches, her skin's pale, her hair's dark. She has some image problems. She's worried about her skin. She's worried about how she looks. She feels ghoulish. And you can't really blame her, because she had dirty blonde hair and, pretty brown. I mean, her eyes are still brown, but she was thought to be very pretty. So eventually she will ask Albel to help train her, and he will, but like, you gotta think that even as a human being, how are you gonna compete with godlings? So she will get eventually some powers through an amulet, but she's never gonna catch up to their level. But that doesn't mean that she's not useful, and that's where she starts developing her voice. But I don't want to get too far into that. Like, her power is literally her voice. So I guess what I have to say is I want her to be for just women's rights. She's for human rights in general. And she's going to get very much moved into that later on. Because, her cult was being part of the will of the people. And now she's in love with Arishan. And so what's she going to do when she sees them again? First off, they're going to think she's a monster. She's supposed to be dead. She's got white ghoulish skin. Yeah, nobody liked her. Savannah went back to the Captain Marvel thing. I didn't bother even seeing it, and I listened to a lot of people who report on it, and no offense to Brie Larson or the people who made that movie, but like, he got rid of a lot of the faces of the MCU, and then like they were coming out saying, oh, she's the best Avenger ever, and it's just she's not. Like, she's voted the least favorite Avenger of all time. So they're probably not moving forward with a sequel. So she speaks English or Japanese. I have this kind of in the perspective of it's going to be released here. I want it to be released in Japan. It's going to be released in Japan eventually. So when they go there, they're going to be speaking Japanese and English here. But one of the Comorians, because remember how I said Emmy speaks Tagalog? One of the Comorians is going to have the opposite language. So, like, if you're in Japan, her language, her secret code language will be English. And while she's here in America, her secret code language will be Japanese. Yeah, that's what they talk about, that Brie Larson's Captain Marvel character personality just stinks. And it's like, a lot of people don't like Brie Larson in general. I don't have an opinion like that, but yeah, her character is just not appealing. It's weird. I don't know how to explain it. It's kind of like they wanted to combine problems from different Avengers. Yes, like they tried to kind of make her a little bit like Iron Man and Captain America's personality, but like all the bad parts of their personality. It's weird. I don't know how to explain it. Lamia does not own a home. I do not currently have a birthday set for Lamia, but I do like the idea of it being in June. Might be something that would be fun to vote on if you guys think that there's a date that you guys like. Type it in the chat, and maybe we'll see what everybody thinks. What zodiac sign she should be and what day of the month. What does Lamia like? Lamia really likes flowers. She likes gardening. She's very into nature. She doesn't like cruelty at all. It doesn't matter. If she found out Hannibal peed on that frog, she'd probably be like, Hannibal, what are you doing? She doesn't like cursing. She doesn't like people to be uncomfortable. But later on, she grows up a little bit and understands that you got to be a little bit tougher on your skin. It's okay to not go out of your way to hurt anybody, but you can't always walk on eggshells. That's no way to live. let's see. Lamia's childhood was okay. She's got 4 older brothers, and they all love her. You'll meet one of them in the beginning of the manga. He's the eldest, and he likes Hannibal. He's not gonna want Lamia to end up with Hannibal. However, he does really care for his sister, and some of her brothers are more on the mind of, well, you're supposed to marry Walker, so you should marry Walker because that's what's good for the family. You're gonna come across, you're gonna come across a lot of family issues in Risshin, and I'm not gonna put any trigger warnings on my thing. So if you got some family stuff going on, just kind of be aware, but I'm not gonna be like, oh yeah, this is what happened. But every family's got their stuff. I got another Facebook message. How would you describe the teenage years of the character? Lamia is pretty much a loner. She's weird. People know she's weird because she hangs out with Hannibal, that she cares for him. So a lot of the girls in her community are kind of like, there's that weirdo, go off, play with the demon, wait till it eats her. Well, it wasn't him who tried to eat her. But anyway, they don't know that. Her cult is pretty sure that Hannibal just killed Walker and then her. They don't even know that she's still alive. They think that he took her and was going to sacrifice her and that she's dead. Not a good look for Hannibal. And some people in the church will know exactly kind of what happened because they'll see the evidence, but they're going to spin that tale. So, let's see. Role involvement. What is the role of the character in the story? Really? Like I said, she becomes a strong voice. I can't give too much more away than that. I'm not gonna tell you all of the things that, she makes you think. She's got a different way of looking at the world. She's very sweet. I already went. She has 4 older brothers. She does really have a crush on Hannibal, but she's very traditional on the fact that she'll wait for him to ask her, and she knows that they weren't in the position for it to happen. But once they're traveling together, is a whole nother situation. And there's going to be a lot of moments that are going to be like, is it going to happen? Is it going to happen? And it just might. But then, there are certain members in the party of 6 who are very nosy, very spying. They want to see what's going on. And sometimes they're going to ruin it, whether they're together at that point or not. It's going to be fun. I'm excited for it. She does not currently have any children. She is currently engaged to Walker. Other important persons, I don't want to get back into that. She doesn't have any real addictions. I guess her bad habit is kind of giving in to others. And like, her and Albel aren't going to really have the best of relationship in the beginning because he's kind of intense. He can be intense. He's grumpy. And she's a little bit skittish in the beginning. So later, they're fine. But in the beginning, she's kind of like, oh, he looks so angry all the time. What did I do to piss him off? Well, her skin becomes ghost white, pretty much. Her hair color becomes this blackish purple color. Her eyes are brown. Does this character drink regularly? I don't even know how Lamia would react drunk. I can't even fathom this idea. She might have a couple sips and just pass out. Or she might end up being really naughty because, I mean, think about it. She's been repressed for most of her life, and what does alcohol do? It loosens you up. So she might get, if she drank, she might get a little touchy feeling on Hannibal's face, and he won't know what to do with that. So, I might be able to do that too at some point, but I think Jody was probably right. It's probably going to be more fun to see Hannibal drunk than Lamia. She doesn't really have any disabilities other than, she's held together with magical threads. So they're pretty solid, but there is the chance always that she could go to do something and her arm could come undone and fly off and smack someone in the face. And I kind of wanted to smack Apollo in the face. She doesn't smoke. Good habits. She always brushes her teeth. A great habit. Her height is about 5'2". She has been educated only in her religion and morals from her grandma, as well as like folklore. So she got a mixture of stuff. Intelligent or not. She's decently intelligent, but she can be very surprised about, let's say, social interactions that are outside of her cult, because everybody's very strict and by the book, even though they're doing things not by the book, behind the scenes. So she gets, like Apollo's a little, like, she finds him fun, but he's very flirtatious. He's theatrical. Albel's angry, and, I can only imagine her seeing what goes on in a bar and kind of being like Rapunzel in Tangled, where she turns it into a sing-along. That's kind of who Lamia is. She doesn't have a lot of self-confidence in the beginning, and when she kind of has a support network, she discovers what she's about. And it's not so much that she becomes confident in herself, but her cause of supporting Hannibal, supporting Rishan, and the good, and just all the different types of beings she comes across, and that it's not what her cult has described at all, becomes a driving force that almost, propels her forward. So she starts speaking even though she's afraid, and she becomes more confident throughout time. She is emotional. She's not crazy emotional. She's just got a lot of guilt. She's got a lot of heavy baggage. She wants to be the perfect daughter, but she has these dreams of her own. That type of situation. How does she cope with fury and rage? In the beginning, she'll cower. However, I will tell you, at some point, she is going to walk right up and slap Nostradamus in the face. So, she has some balls that come through at some point. She just does not care for him, obviously. Like I said, Hannibal and Nostradamus, 2 beta fish, that's it. How does she cope with unhappiness? She's a crier. She's a cuddler. She's not very good with rivalry. She'll get insecure. She's not one who's gonna pull some other girl's hair and roll around on the floor until they rip each other's clothes off. Like, don't expect that out of her. It's not gonna happen. new situations she's usually okay with. She kind of watches and observes a little. She doesn't like trouble. Her meaning in life, well, all she's ever really wanted to do was go and explore and find, those folklore places and meet these exciting creatures that, humans don't interact with as much anymore, at least not in her cult, because they're all horrible things. Like they hear all these horrible things about how they demean humans for Ree's glory and all this stuff. And but her grandma told such beautiful stories that the church wasn't telling, that she wants to go and see that world. She wants to live in that world, because the world her grandma talked about was fantastic. Like, she could only dream of a world where women fought alongside men and, all this other stuff. What motivate Mommy? I think I kind of covered that already, because she is motivated to help Hannibal. She kind of quickly realizes she doesn't match up with their level of power. So she gets motivated to get stronger. She wants to help. She doesn't want to be Kyrie from Kingdom Hearts. And I know the last game, I haven't finished it, but I guess she does help, which is a good start. I really want Kyrie to have a moment where she comes through. I know I am, but she was mean to Riku, so I have this thing, I'm waiting for her redemption arc for me, and I know most people won't understand that, but I don't want to get into a fight with any Kingdom Hearts fans that come on here later. If you love Kyrie, that's fine. But she really needs, and that's what I'm saying. I want her character development. I want her to grow. I want to see her progress. And I want to see her kind of have more of a, redeeming arc for me. For me, she's just a plot device. So that's not what Lamia's not going to be there and go, I'm not going to do anything. She's going to be like, okay, that guy is a demon. All right, let's see what we can do about this. And she, like I said, she's going to have Albel help her learn to fight. She is going to have a medallion that's going to help her. But it's not, like I said, going to be comparable to a godling. There's other arcs for her that I don't want to reveal now. But from a political standpoint, she does a lot. And that whole meaning that became with this is that your voice is very powerful, whether you are out in the world talking or it's with the people that are around you. Your voice has the power to change the world. It can start something. Let's see. What things motivate the character? What situation scares the character? I guess that Lamia becomes really kind of afraid that, the world's going to end. Not really end, but, fall under the Gamorrean powers. That Hannibal is a little too saucy, so that even if he does succeed in taking out Nostradamus, that's not going to stop Ree from, murdering him. And she's also really afraid because, as you guys will hear throughout the story, Ree is very good about killing her son's wives. She does not want any competition for her throne. She has one Sky daughter and never again. Like, time is it. She will not have any other Sky daughters. And her Water and Earth daughters are unable to take her place because they don't have access to heaven, which is something Hannibal doesn't like. But, Hannibal doesn't like a lot of things about his mom. Neither does Albel. I think Albel is probably her biggest hater. Like, he hates his mother. What situations make this character happy? Lamia is really happy very easily. She likes small gestures. if she likes fireworks a lot. She's very happy with flowers. She loves bunnies. She loves anything that's fluffy. Is she biased? Probably more than Hannibal. She likes to give everyone the benefit of the doubt, but I do definitely feel like she prefers cute animals to big scary ones. However, if she comes across a tiger, she's gonna think it's really cute. She she just isn't gonna like big monstrous scary things. But that, I think, bias softens as she is more exposed to what's out there, because like I said, she kind of lived in a closed-minded society. Does she prefer to give or take? I think Lamia is pretty balanced, and she's rather nice. So do you guys have any questions about Lamia and Hannibal that I can answer that character profile might have missed, because I downloaded the questions offline and I know that I have to be missing something. Their favorite food. Hannibal loves watermelon. He is crazy for watermelon as his most favorite treat in the entire world. Lamia likes candy, so she's right up there with Sam and Sparta on "You got me candy." So I don't know that she's gonna sneak it out of somebody else's stuff, but Hannibal's favorite animal becomes the wolf. Lamia's is probably bunnies. Yeah, Sam finds it herself. Sam also steals it from her mom, and has secret stashes. She'll find it and she'll eat it. It doesn't matter whose it is. So, Sparta hoards all his candy, because he can't ever run out of it. Then I'm trying to think, like, what other, because Hannibal's power animal is the wolf. He has, powers that would attribute to the sky and darkness. He is, technically, since he is a Rishon of the night, part of his domain is both the underworld and the dream realm, which is very important, because at some point he's going to tell his mother to stay the F out of it. And you have to think that, this boy here, this 18-year-old growing into a man, doesn't have a lot of power in the beginning, and he pretty much tells, the head goddess, this isn't your realm, screw off, like, get out of here. It's not going to make her very happy. But he tells it like it is. He's like, no, you're not supposed to be here. This isn't your realm. Get out. Like, you'll see how well that turns out for him. But yeah, like, if you have any questions, I'd love to answer them. I know this is already an hour-long stream, and I appreciate you guys being here so long. I'm trying to think of anything else that I guess, like, favorite. I can't really answer favorite TV show. If you guys are good, then let's think of something for next time. Because this time I answered questions. So how about we blood type? Well, they're gods, so that's the other thing that I guess I should kind of warn people out, and we'll probably talk more about it in another episode. Like the Greek gods, you will find gods who have relationships with their siblings or half-siblings, because from my interpretation, gods don't have blood type, so, it's not going to make your kids or blood type or DNA, it's going to I don't know how to explain it, but they don't really have DNA like we have DNA. It's automatically altered. And so while Albel, Apollo, and Hannibal are technically triplets, their DNA is altered enough to where they wouldn't technically be siblings by our standard, even though they have the same parents. It's kind of a unique thing. And so there are multiple different types of relationships in this series. Like we talked about how Dionysus and Ariadne were monogamous. That was a very kind of radical thing for the gods. And I'm not saying that every god everywhere cheated, but even Hades and Persephone had other relationships. And I know people out there are going to be like, no, they didn't, blah, blah, blah. I just, you're entitled to your own beliefs. That's all I'm going to say. But I promise you, I've been to Greece. I've read a lot of lore. You can go off of what your heart says. I'm totally cool with that. That should be your prerogative. But you can never deny the text. So you can say, I believe this way. I don't like that interpretation, but the interpretation is out there. You can't discredit it and say, well, that never happened. It's just not, no. And my rule for Greek mythology is kind of if somebody's not dying a violent death, sometimes a really strange violent death, or there's no sex, whether it be consensual or not, it's probably not the full story. So these characters will have all kinds of different relationships. Some of them will be poly, some of them are monogamous, some of them are gay, some of them, are lesbians. There's not quite as many girls, so you won't see that as much, and it's not gonna be, I'm not gonna go from a regular manga into a yaoi. I promise that. This is not gonna be as anywhere near as dirty as a yaoi manga can get, because I have them. I totally support it. Yeah, somebody else is more than willing to make yaoi between Apollo and Albel, because I could see where you go with that. I can see that. They don't end up with each other at all. But I can kind of ship that comparatively to Hannibal with Nostradamus. It's just going to bug me, and I know it's going to happen. But the first three Skyrician brothers, the first generation of them, one is completely gay and the other two are bisexual. So they all have their own sexualities, and I don't want anybody to be surprised about it. The Water Rishin are all in love with each other. So there's 4 of them, and Hikaru is in love with someone who's not there. Like, she loves somebody, but she doesn't know where he is. And then River loves Hikaru, and then Sam loves River, and then Swampy loves Sam. So there's all kinds of relationships in this, and I like to support that. I like to see the diversity, but I don't want you to think I'm going to ram it down your throat. It's not going to be like that. There's a character in this, and Jodie's quite a big fan of this character, and there is not a specific gender for this character. You don't know if she's a boy, if she's a girl, or she has octopus for her special places. Like, you don't know what's down there, and that's all that's really implied, is she's not normal. She's not a boy, she's not a girl, she's just a thing. And I really love this character too, and I can't wait till we get to a point where I can introduce this character. I'm very excited for them. But yeah, I mean, yes, Minx. So now everybody knows it's Minx. And Minx is actually a full-fledged deity. She is a god. And notice it's not goddess. She is the god of love. So, let's see. I'm trying to think of anything else I can say. I'll probably go more into different relationship dynamics in another one. I do want to do Apollo and Albel next week. And then I think, and if someone can help remind me, I want to go more into the cult of the will of the people. Because it's a very interesting cult. And they are trying to do some interesting things. And I think I talked about they're making their own god. They're literally creating a god to fulfill their needs. And yeah, so I guess I'm trying to think of something fun so that I can answer next time. What do you guys want to know about Albel and Apollo? Sam, I'm counting on another awesome question from you. I think you might have missed it, Savannah. But Sam asked what kind of dog breeds the Rishans and the Comorians would be. So we went through that in the beginning of the live stream. I mean, you guys can text me later if you can't think of it now, but I'm sure that Sam's gonna come up with something good, because me and Sam like to troll each other, so she's gonna come up with something she thinks is gonna be funny. But I'm trying to think. But anyway, we'll get into Apollo and Albel next week, and then we'll talk a little bit of the will of the people, and then we'll go into Miri and Sierra, who are both on posters on my wall, and I'm working on ideas for more guide posters, but I have to finish my chibi keychains. I have 2 left to do, and then I can send them off to be made. I'm going to post as soon as I'm done with the 6th one. I'm going to post them on Facebook, and if anybody wants to do pre-orders, you don't have to, but if you want to pre-order any of them, that helps me order extra so that way I can take them to conventions and people can help support it there. So it's kind of like me just making sure that if people pre-order 5 of, say, Lamia, I don't run out when I go to the con. But I don't want you to feel obligated. So I guess I'm going to wrap this up. And I do want to thank my Patreon supporters, which are Jody and Sam. And just all of you guys for being here. And then I will see you next Friday. It's probably going to be at least 7 p.m. because next Friday is my mama's birthday, and we are going out to eat, me, my sister, Sparta. I think my dad is coming, and my mom, and I think we're going to Chili's. So I'm probably going to have potato soup, which is bad for me, but, you only live several thousand times. Might as well enjoy potatoes on every one of them. All right, guys, I love you. Have a great night. How do I hit the end button? There we go. Are you sure you want to end the stream? Not yet. No, I'm pretty sure I hit end.